Good morning, gorgeous. I got a channel message. There is a different version of you, one that would be really hard for you to imagine right now. But Spirit wants you to do just that. Imagine this future version of you, a higher version of you that has access to more support and abundance than you've ever even dreamt of. Imagine the version of you being lifted up and celebrated in front of others. Imagine the version of you being victorious and being successful at whatever it is you've been working tirelessly toward and faithfully and bravely toward for so long. Just imagine. So that was a draft. I forgot to edit it. But I think you get the point. The point is that there is a version of you that you haven't met yet, but it's met you and it's trying to guide you forward. Now, this might seem unrelated, but I really woke up feeling guided to share this story about my past. The version of me that has been in a very masculine energy. And why? Because right now I'm sitting in more of a receiving energy. I'm still working hard, but I'm replacing all of the parts of me that felt like it needed to push, force, or prove herself, especially one-on-one on my timer. Thank you, Spirit. The part of me that felt the need to go prove myself to everyone has really faded into the background, thankfully. But I know why she was there, and I was remembering with a smile some of her antics when I was a teenager. And this might sound alarming to some of you who didn't have the kind of childhood that I had, but I was so tough as a teenager, so tough. I hung out with men, men. Separate side note, problem. But I hung out with men who, and women, but a lot of men who were older than me, 10, even 20 years older than me sometimes. And I would do things like play tackle football with them. I would play tackle football with adult men when I was 14 or 15. And I would do stupid stuff like with them because they were doing it. I would never have instigated this, mind you. These are things that they came up with that I decided I wanted to prove myself at. And keep in mind that I'm not recommending anybody try this. But I was a big drinker. I was abusing my body all the time, and while I was abusing my body with toxic people, I would also try to prove myself in these really funny ways, like just trying to keep up with their antics, even when they were physically harming themselves. I would be the one that would win whatever game they were playing because I was that determined to prove that I was tough. Mostly because I grew up with 3 siblings that were all older than me, and that 2 of them were brothers who beat me up, and I learned how to be tough because I had to. And then I just kind of carried it out into my life, and I just was really hell-bent on proving myself to a lot of people for a long time. And obviously that phase of hurting myself to prove myself with men didn't last forever, but there was a different version of me that kept pushing and forcing and chasing. I've been the chaser. Because of the way that I grew up, it made me feel like I had some kind of control. It made me feel like whatever it makes our ego feel. Safety. Maybe it feels like it has to prove itself, to be loved, to be accepted. I think that's how I felt. But I also wanted to stand apart from all the other girls that hung around us. I didn't want to be another one of the girls. I wanted to be respected. And so I harmed myself. I put myself in harm's way, going to mosh pits with them. And I listened to punk rock and stuff, but I wasn't that hardcore at 15. I probably wouldn't have chosen to go in, but I went in. You know what I mean? That's the point. I went in because I needed to prove myself. And I'm at this stage in my life now where I don't have to prove myself to anybody because I've already proven myself to me, and I know my own heart's intention. And this is for all of you guys, because you're being asked to step out of this chasing mode, if that's the mode you've been in, this mode that's trying to grasp for things of validation from people around you instead of finding it from within yourself. Any part of you that doesn't believe you're worthy, that feels like you have to pretend to be someone else or, embellish a little bit. I don't think I was pretending. I've always been tough, but I definitely embellished. I definitely pushed myself outside of my comfort zone on a regular basis, but it wasn't for a cause that I would go back and stand behind. Nowadays, I push myself outside my comfort zone. Holy crap, every single day. It's ridiculous. But the reason is for me, and it's for my own self-love and my own growth, and it has nothing to do with anyone. In fact, if anything, I'm alienating myself more by doing this than I would have in the past, because people don't get what I'm doing. If anything, this is me going against the grain of being a people pleaser, doing things I've never done things by the book, let's be honest, but doing things based on what the status quo is around me, at times at least, to prove that I can fit in or whatever. And so whatever your version of that story is, I edited it a lot. If I was telling a story to a single person individually, I would have shared a lot more details about that period of my life. But I don't want to muddle the message, okay? The message is about stepping into a new era, okay? So if you were previously in a season where you felt the need to chase, especially if you're feminine energy, and you were chasing, whoever you were interested in, you felt the need to go prove yourself to them or give everything to them, even though they weren't giving anything to you, then you know what I'm talking about, okay? However it manifested, we're being asked to shift gears and step into a new era where we are honoring ourselves first and foremost. And we are also stepping into a more feminine energy of receiving. And this means that we allow ourselves time to rest. We allow ourselves time to receive. We're not always going out there and doing and conquering. And, again, everybody's going to have a different version of that. But another version of that would be this most recent version of me where I was cranking out so many videos. And even though I'm making almost a similar amount now, it's a different energy. It's coming from a cup overflowing. It's not coming from like an obligated sense of needing to guide people. There were a lot of people I could feel like relying on the messages, and I felt obligated in a way. I wanted to, but I also felt a little bit of an obligation to continue making sure that there were always videos for people to watch. And at a certain point, I hit a wall, as some of you know, a really big wall, and I needed to pull back and take a rest, and I did. And ever since then, it's like I've been recalibrated. So I'm here to just help us all get recalibrated, okay? Because this next phase of our lives is going to require us to use a very different set of tools, is what I'm hearing. Whatever has gotten you this far is not going to get you through this next leg. It's not going to get you there. You have to pull from a whole new bag of tricks. And so the new bag of tricks is going to look a lot like doing nothing. It's going to feel really uncomfortable for those of us that have been out there doing things and feeling the need to constantly create, produce something. I have to always be doing something in order to be valuable. Now, if you know that story, you know me very well. We know each other very well, I should say, because it's a common story and I certainly relate to it. And so that's exactly the energy that we need to get out of. This idea that if we stop being productive, that we're never going to make it in. I don't know. What is it? We're going to die? This hair is driving me nuts. I don't know what the fear is. The fear is that I'm going to let myself down, that I'm not good enough unless I'm working. I'm not good enough unless I'm, fighting for something, that I'm not allowed to just rest and receive. Now, you go back and watch movies, Hollywood movies, okay? From the, 50s, 60s. All the women, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I don't want to go back there as a woman especially, at all. But I do witness these women allowing men to open doors for them and allowing people to do nice things for them. And I've always just thought, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to be treated that way. I don't know how to let myself receive. I'm always the one opening doors for other people. I don't know if you relate. I'm always the one, or have been always the one saying no to people trying to do nice things for me, because I've always been the one doing nice things for others. And I've always had to take care of myself since I was really young. So anyway, there's a lot of messages in here, but they're all tying back to this theme of surrender, of grace, of allowing ourselves to receive. It doesn't matter what gender you are here, okay? We all have to have balance. We all have to find balance. So if you've mastered one, let's try another one. I've mastered the art of going out there and doing and conquering and being I really have. I've been in a masculine energy isn't a bad thing, okay? It's just that I've been imbalanced, big time, especially for a woman. I haven't been soft. I didn't really share, I was out there harming myself physically. I've just never been delicate because I never allowed myself to, I grew up in an environment that wasn't delicate, that's why. But now I'm trying to go back, unwind, okay? This goes for you, unwinding all this conditioning, all this projections, all of these ideas of who we are that other people put on us or that we put on ourselves, and finding a new layer, a softer layer, a layer of receiving, a layer of, just a softening. Actually, somebody that I met recently called it that, this whole experience, that the softening happened. That's what he said, and I was like, I love that, the softening. So allow the softening to happen in your life. Know that whatever you've been focused on in whatever category, it's time you shift gears and kind of get a balance of both, okay? And that might mean for some of us turning all the way to the other side, the dial all the way to the left, until you find that balance in the middle. And I'm kind of doing something in between. But anyway, I hope that made sense. I basically just rolled out of bed to do this. And I hope you like my new dress. I'm also trying to dress a little bit different, just like express myself differently, invite a little bit more femininity into my life, you know, embrace my femininity and even embrace my beauty in a way that I've never allowed myself to do, because honestly, other people around me felt threatened by it and I didn't recognize I even had it. So I didn't know that I could be beautiful. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I'm sure some people understand what I'm talking about, but allow the softening to happen in your life. And if you need any guidance, you know, private reading, mentorship, self-love coaching, any of that kind of good stuff, you can visit my website, sacredmuseproject.com. But either way, I love you. Again, I hope this made sense, and I'll see you next time. Mwah.